dismissive avoidant have a very different way to deal with no contact and people who are secure or who have an anxious attachment style. And in this video, I'm going to explain what you should be doing if you're trying to get back with an ex who is dismissive avoidant, whether you should go no contact, how long you should go no contact, whether you should break no contact. I will detail everything in this video.
IGetMyExBack.com. Everyone deserves a second chance.
So first of all, you need to understand, if you're not familiar with dismissive avoidant, that people who have this attachment style, and I used to be like this, they are driven by this fear of commitment. It makes them very uncomfortable to be intimate with someone, whether it's physical, emotional, usually. And the thing is, potentially, the reason this person broke up with you is because of that clash of attachment, because of your demand for intimacy and the feeling that he could or she couldn't meet your needs. And what they're after when they decide to break up with you is to be on their own, to have that space, to reclaim that space, that freedom. And unfortunately, you don't necessarily want to hear this. They would love it. They would love to finally be on their own, not having to deal with what they perceive drama, and to, be able to do their own thing. And without having to report, to explain, to discuss, doing their own things, their own terms. So the breakup for dismissive avoidant is really much a release, a liberation from what they perceive. Again, it's really about the perception, sort of a prison. Okay. Now, the problem is, a lot of the people who are anxious or secure, who are dating avoidant, are actually activated. The anxiety is activated by this person who really pushes them away. And so what it's doing in if you're anxious person, this will activate your attachment and would want you to cling more than you should. And that's why, because you think, this person is pushing me away and I need this person. I need to be close to that person. And if I'm close to that person, if I explain how much I love them, if I explain how much I'm suffering from their decision, that would ease the pain. The problem is, when you do that, you create this very, very common circle, vicious circle of anxious avoidant. The more you push, the more they pull back. The more you push, the more they pull back. And you're going to make the situation, you're going to worsen the situation, and you're going to really reduce any chance you have to get back with your ex. Most people who are not aware of attachment style would make that mistake because they wouldn't necessarily understand what their ex wants, or what's their mechanism, their psychological mechanism. If you're watching this video, hopefully you're doing it at the right time and you can prevent yourself from acting emotionally, thinking that if I want to ease the pain, I need to explain, I need to be in touch with them. So breakup is a good thing for both of you. You don't feel like it, but it's a good thing for both of you. And I'll explain you what you should be doing. Now, no contact and avoidant, will they move on? That's the fear that people have when we talk about no contact with dismissive avoidant. The problem with dismissive avoidant, they are great at pretending. They appear very calm, collected, but there's a lot of things going on. It's a little bit, I usually take the image of a duck. Duck above the surface of the water is very magnificent, staying straight. But below the surface, there's a lot of things going on. It's either conscious or unconscious, because if I take my example, for many years, I couldn't really understand my emotions. So there were a lot of things going on inside my gut, inside my heart, but I couldn't really understand those things. And the problem is that they often rationalize breakups focusing on their ex's flow. And so, for example, in the book Attached, they have this concept of the phantom ex, where avoidants tend to idealize the partner they're not with. So they break up with someone and then they think, okay, I need to get back with my former girlfriend or boyfriend. And when they are back with that person, they feel like, oh no, actually I prefer the other one, because they are driven to like someone they don't have, okay? They will also minimize the importance of love. They will create this story, I don't need anyone to be happy. I don't need anyone. I'm better on my own. And they will idealize this form of independence. Okay? You might be listening to this, reading this line and thinking, okay, I'm never going to get that person back. The thing is, avoidants, they have this deep need for bonding, for connection, because it's in our DNA. Like anyone, they crave connection. But they crave connection with someone secure. And that's the big difference. That's the thing you need. If there's something you need to remember from this video, avoidants get back or attracted by someone who's secure. Of course, they're going to shift their focus and jump into a new relationship and forget you. That's a possibility. But this happens, and I see that consistently, very often. This happens when I analyze the relationship, and you can definitely see that this relationship was not meaningful. You need to affect that person in a way where they feel, okay, maybe I'm struggling to share intimacy with someone, but this person is special. This person is special. I understand that, sometimes intimacy is difficult for me, but this person is special. So if you've heard things around, like, I've never been like this with anyone, I've never said things like that to anyone, you know that you can get that person back. Because there's no reason for them to, fulfill a life without you in their life. Okay? It's very important for you. Avoidance, if they're not into you, they're going to move on quickly, they're going to date someone else, and it's over, and there's nothing you can do about that. I might be the only one saying this online, but I want to be realistic with your chances. If you're not sure about your chances, there's a quiz as well that I put together. It's totally free. Look in the description where you can assess whether you have a chance or not to get back with your ex. A majority of people taking the test will get a result telling them they should move on. Maybe that's not what you want to hear, but that's something you should hear, right? So have because sometimes we try to pursue things that we feel are great because it's very emotional, but at the end of the day, in 6 months' time, you would realize that was a mistake to pursue this relationship. Hopefully, you will have a score big enough to tell you that you're going to have a chance. If not, try to really reflect and be challenging your thoughts about the relationship. So yes, you can get a dismissive avoidant back. You need to break no contact after a few weeks. I've seen that so many times, people calling me 6 months after the breakup, telling me, I've been through no contact, I have no news, and now I see that my ex is back with someone. The thing is, and I read a study from Israel, the problem with DA is that they are overly confident in their abilities to cope. It's interesting because the study, it's people who interviewed people getting divorced in the courtroom. And then they interviewed them and then followed them for a few years. So when they interviewed dismissive avoidant, they said, yeah, I'm fine. I want to find someone else. But months after the breakup, they will feel distressed. They will feel, again, like the duck. They feel distressed and it will be a hard time for them as well. And so that's why sometimes, and actually quite often, dismissive avoidants, they are scared to get in touch because they are scared of the conflict. They might be feeling that they miss you. They might be feeling that they want to test the water. But because perhaps you were too emotional, perhaps there's a lot of things reminding them of a drama or conflict, they would say like, my fear of conflict will prevent me from reaching out. And so it's very important for you to, test the water, break no contact after a month or two of no contact to see where they are. If they're not interested, you'll see it quickly. If they're interested, they're going to start having a conversation with you. And it's really about managing this conversation. How you bring them to a place where they feel like, you acted in a clingy way, you were super needy, now you're different, now they can see that you have a life and you don't necessarily depend on them. So it's really changing the dynamic. You still have the same qualities they fell in love for or with, but you bring that security with them. So it's really about safety. You don't need necessarily to attract them. It's not about seduction in that case. It's really about showing them that safety space. What people won't tell you is that, and I'm looking after you, that's the thing. The danger of getting back at all costs. So maybe you're going to break the contact and he's going to be in touch with you. If you don't see any investment, if you're the only one chasing, I would advise you to stop. You need to be with someone who puts the work in. You need to be with someone who, might be insecure, might have had trauma, but at the end of the day, you need to be with someone who is interested in you, who cares about you, who will, overcome his or her fear. I personally worked on myself to be able to have kids and have a family and have a stable relationship. Of course, it's easy for me because it was part of my job to go through therapy. But I've learned so much. But I think love, and I'm a strong believer that love can really push people to do their best, to become a better version of themselves. If your ex doesn't see it, that's not your job to explain that to them. You can show them the way, i.e. how you manage to be from, for example, an anxious preoccupied to someone secure. But if they don't put the work, give up. That person is not for you. Okay? Your heart will be with the wrong relationship advisor in that case. Because you might be feeling, you're going to be very overly empathetic with that person. At the end of the day, you want to be happy. And if that person doesn't invest in you, you're wasting your time. If you have any other questions and want to speak with me, you have links as well in the description. Feel free to ask me any question in the comment section and also to click on the like button. I always forget to say that, but it does help me a lot in terms of referencing, and I'll see you next time. Get up, nah, I ain't a quitter. Toss me the ball, I'm a really big hitter. Big picture, I'm a straight killer.